Hello friends, it's Sarah from Sweet Scents from the Dollhouse. If you're new to my channel, welcome, subscribe and hang out with us. If you're a returning waxie, as always, welcome back. Today, I think this is the third or fourth installment of Swax Files. If you haven't watched my previous videos in this little mini series, I highly advise start from like the first installment and watch them chronologically, because if not, this really won't make so much sense. And then come back and join us on this video. But just, I highly advise this. Doesn't make a lot of sense unless you get caught up on all of the other things that I've discussed in the previous videos. But for my returning waxies who have been following this little mini series, as promised, I was going to do a little sweaty wax experiment, if you will. So I have left these. Well, let's start off. First of all, this is the remainder of my Hendrix hoard. I purchased these off the clearance tab, I believe I think it was like mid-September. In one of my September Scentsy hauls anyways, you can find that video. I promise these were all purchased at the same time. They were shipped to me in the same order. So all the same age, right? They are all Hendrix bars from June's Bring Back My Bar. I absolutely love this. It is my favorite. I used to have like 30 of them, but I melt it pretty much at least every other day. So I've gone through a lot of it. This is the remainder of my hoard. I've also shared a lot of it. So without further ado, one of my discussions with consultant support in regards to the Scentsy Sweats, I know I always reference consultant support rep B. I won't say his name, but the poor guy, it's always just his luck. He always takes my phone calls and he's probably like, oh my word. Why is this girl so difficult? Why does she ask like the hardest questions? Sorry, B. But I can't get down with answers that don't make sense. So we started off the conversation I was basically like, is Scentsy doing anything about the sweaty wax issue? And he said, no, it's not an issue. And I said, well, I beg to disagree. I do think it is an issue. I had discovered that a vast majority of my beloved Scentsy collection was a sweaty, nasty mess. And I assure you that this is not a storage issue. That's automatically the answer consultant support will give you. Well, you need to store your wax in a cool, dry, dark place. I said, listen, B, I have 13 years of candle making experience. 14 years now. So I understand what it means to saturate and max out your fragrance load. So if you imagine wax as a sponge, right? Think about wax as a sponge. A sponge can only hold so much water before what happens? The excess leaks out, right? Wax is the exact same thing. It will only hold a certain percentage of fragrance before it starts to seep. So I said, unfortunately, B, I don't buy that. I know it has absolutely nothing to do with storage. So is this something that Scentsy is working on? Is Scentsy trying to fix this? And he said, no, because Scentsy doesn't think it's an issue. I said, okay, so why do we have to tell customers that it's a storage issue? Because you and I both know that this isn't a storage issue. And he wouldn't agree with me, but when I didn't buy the storage issue, he then tried to sell me on it's a transportation issue. That because during the shipment process, the wax is subjected to fluctuating temperatures. That is what causes the Scentsy Sweats. I might buy that if I lived in a climate where I only had one season. So I live in Canada where it's hot as hell in the summertime. The fall is ideal temperatures and then it's cold as like hell. Cold, 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 like minus 30 here in the winter. And I've had Scentsy bars shipped to me in all 4 seasons here in Canada. And I've had sweaty wax from all 4 seasons. But this season, this came to me in September when it was not hot and it was not cold. So again, if the secondary excuse that this isn't Scentsy's fault, this happens during transportation, this little experiment is about temperature. So the first bar we have here is my cold temperature. So this one has been in my car for 4 weeks. In the trunk of my car for 4 weeks at temperatures anywhere to minus 30, minus 15. Today, when I brought it inside, it is plus 2 outside, but primarily freezing cold temperatures. This one, I only have 3 cubes left in this. I left this on the mantle of my fireplace. So this one is going to be our hot bar. This one, my daughter Grace so generously carried this around in the coat or in her pocket of her parka. So I drive her to school in the morning, but she walks home. So this one has fluctuated in between severe hot and cold temperatures, or I'd say cold and like room temperature for the last 3 weeks. And these ones that you see here have been stored at the regular room temperature as the rest of my wax in the rest of my hoard. I have not looked inside any of these because I want to share this experience in this video. So we've got something, again, just to recap, this wax was all sent in September, ideal shipping temperatures. We have 3 weeks worth of experiment. Regular, consistent temperature, fluctuating temperature, super hot, super cold. This one is actually still cold to the touch. So let's see what the results are. Our cold temperature bar, it's been in my trunk for 3 weeks. It looks, if you look super close, I know my crappy camera is not going to pick it up, but it looks like it's just barely starting to sweat, not even. Like for the most part, this is dry as a bone. This one, I only did 3 cubes because I was almost positive this one, in theory, should be a sweaty, nasty mess. It was a sweaty bar to start with because I didn't want to deliberately ruin a whole bar. You have like the slightest beads of fragrance oils on the top and some collected at the bottom in there. But again, this one was sweaty to start. Considering this was on the mantle of a fireplace for 3 weeks, this should be liquid, but it's not. Here we've got the one that fluctuated in temperatures in the coat pocket. This one is dry as a bone. In and out of my daughter's school to home to school to home for 3 weeks, not one bead of sweat. These ones have remained at regulated temperature, shipped in September, stayed in my closet, cool, dark place with the rest of my wax, none of which from any other company is sweating. So let's go through these ones. Dry. Dry. And again, I have not looked at these, so I don't know the results. Dry. Wow, these are pretty good. I'm impressed. Sweaty. Not too bad, but definitely sweaty. Sweaty. Dry. Really sweaty. Sweaty. probably the worst one so far. So now that I've disproved it's not storage and it's not temperature, what now, brown cow? What now? This is 120% a manufacturer's issue. It's production, 120%. So, in my next video, what I intend on doing is doing scent scores. So we have our 3 test subjects that have been subjected to extreme temperatures. And then we have our regular run-of-the-mill stored at same temperature at all times. And this seems to be the sweatiest, is the stuff that doesn't fluctuate in temperature. How is that? Like really, how is that? So I'm going to take the sweatiest one and war it or observe it against these ones that have been exposed to extreme various temperatures. We will see what the results are. Do the Scentsy Sweats affect the performance of the wax? So again, in theory, if the fragrance oils are separating from the wax, that means they're not in the cube when it goes into your warmer because it's in the bottom of your clamshell. So in theory, I'm thinking that if the fragrance oils are seeping out, perhaps it won't last as long. But I'm crossing my fingers because Hendrix, this is the perfect test subject because I know that Hendrix throws like a beast in my house for days. I have never once had to use more than 2 cubes or even 1. Like 1 is nice, 2 is strong. So we will have to see what the end results are in our final Swax Files video. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up, subscribe, smash the bell above for future content notification, and stay tuned for the very last installment of Swax Files when we break it down and see what the final results are. Thanks for watching.